it is that time of year. We are getting to the end of the calendar year. And that means I checked off my latest Star Wars book on Goodreads, the little digital bookshelf thing that Amazon does to keep you in their ecosystem and buying books from Bezos. Anyway, I was over there, clicked the button the other day that said I finished the book. And then it said, hey, you're 7 books behind schedule. There's still time.
Yikes.
And I was like, oh no, when did I get 7 books behind schedule? I'm like a very goal-oriented person, kind of like type A. Everything has its place, sort of like I've got spreadsheets upon spreadsheets upon spreadsheets, and I've got my to-do lists. And the fact that I am 7 books behind schedule, I went into overdrive. And so I have nearly completed 3 Star Wars books simultaneously this week, like a madman.
Oh my goodness.
So the 7, it's tangible. It is now within reach. I feel like I can do it. I don't know if I will, but we'll keep everybody updated on, how that goes. I set a lower goal this year. I set the goal for, I had really gotten out of control. I was up to 80 books a year.
What?
And I found that stressful last year. So I dialed it down this year. I've got a new job. It's more, time intensive. I dialed it down to 52, like a book a week sort of thing. And now, of course, we've got Diligent Sloth here with us in the chat, who's read like 200 books this year. You don't count. I'm sorry. You read way too fast. We know. Hey, congratulations and all that. You're amazing.
Well done.
But for us normal people, 52. Anyway, I'm shooting for it. I'm close. How about y'all? Where are you at on your reading goals for the year? We've had our own little competition going on, and that's its own thing. But for the year, where are you at on your book?
I'm very behind.
I believe
very,
that.
very behind, severely behind. And I think most of it, where it stemmed from, was, the fact that I finished my master's, and I was like, okay, I'm not reading for a while. I am just sitting back, relaxing, and of course, I've read for the show and then some, but definitely a lot less than normal.
Yeah, I mean, like with a master's, it's there's sometimes when you got to do 1,000 pages in a week.
Yeah,
and it's just like 120, 200 pages a day. I mean, of academic stuff, and I know what you mean. Also, I love the comment from Sloth here in the chat says, not 200, it's 173 actually, and my goal is 52. So sometimes
I don't even know how you get 52. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, you got your books and you don't watch a ton of TV. Where you at, Rick?
All right, so I set lofty goals across the board for me every year. I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna get in financial health. All these great ambitious goals. I'm gonna write an essay or an article once a month, whatever. And reading, I set pretty reasonable goals, and they are always the goal that I get the closest to actually achieving, but still fall short. So my goal for this year was 36 books, and I just finished book 30. So maybe I could do it.
That's close.
But
you can do it.
I did like 24 and got 30 like a couple years ago. So I was like, okay, 36 books, I can do this, and I've yet to do it. But it's not that many books either. So I should really.
No,
like
you're at the
books.
point where you could add plays because they're like 2 hours and you're done.
Sure.
Or cookbooks. I've counted cookbooks before, but usually if I
Rick
actually
would
read
get
it.
to the first page of a cookbook and then you'd never see him again because he'd be
wow.
eating all the food.
Wow. Fat
Shots
shaming
fired.
me, man.
Apologies.
Oh gosh. Or what about, what is it? Not magazines. Oh, kids books. Count those.
Oh, well,
You're at
that's
the point you
if
gotta
we're doing
start
that,
counting
I
kids'
have
books.
definitely read like 500 at least. Then
I
There you
don't
go.
count the kids' books. I do count the Star Wars books that I read that are, middle grade to. A few years ago, I read the entire Jedi Apprentice, Jedi Quest, and Fate of the Jedi series, in 1 year. And I counted every last one of those. So that was, let's see, 19 plus 10 plus 10, like 50 books, so
There you go.
40 actually. Okay. So let us know how everybody is doing, as you close out. This is going to be our last live show of the year. So, update over in the Discord and all that good stuff. And then the beginning of the year, the first live show, we'll check in and we will have our final tally on the race to the finish and see who is the final winner of the year. We had a little bit of pre-show dispute about what exactly was the start date. April 7th is the official date that we started the contest, even though Emily said she did finish the book on April 5th. I don't think we count it.
Well, the interesting thing is this year, because every year I'm also a very goal-oriented person. I set goals and usually I accomplish whatever I set out to do. I just work really hard until I get it done. So I'm kind of careful about the goals I set.
You ran your triathlon.
My triathlon. Yeah. One year I decided I wanted to run an ultra marathon and I did. And I was very much undertrained, but I got it done. And so, I don't know. So this year, usually there's a book goal. Like that's kind of how I started it. I started off with 10 books or something dumb. And then I decided, I could probably do like one for how old I am, like a book for however many years I'm old, which seems a little immature now. But anyway,
idea. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty attainable. At the time I was like 23 or something like that. So it was pretty easy. And then now I'm 30. And I had gotten to the point where I was reading more and more and more. And then this year I thought I'm going to take a step back, I'm going to have a baby this year and I've got a young kid and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like I don't have as much time as I used to. I'm just going to focus on not setting as many goals and just being present. And so I was just trying to be intentional this year. And then y'all bring out this freaking race to the finish madness. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like the one year where I'm like specifically not setting a goal and you come in and of course I'm like at I don't know, 11, but who's counting?
Well, we are all counting. That's the point. Mine, and I've talked about this in years past. There was a point where I started, the book a week and then I met it and I was like, all right, I'm upping it 10. I did that. Every year I met the goal, I upped it 10. And so I got all the way up to 80, and I think I abysmally crashed and burned last year. And so I lowered it way back down. And yet I do take a little pride in the fact that it's more than the rest of y'all. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, hats off, man.
Well done.
I appreciate it. Even though I'm going to lose the race to the finish, I will have read more books in general than the rest of you.
Well, and
a book a month
Bible books count.
Books of the Bible? Yeah, we'll be reading Philemon a lot.
I was going to say, some Jude, sneak that in there. Third John, come on.
Hanging out with Third John, or as my 4-year-old says, Third Sean.
Third Sean.
Third Sean of the
grandfather's name. Yep. Well, we have really loved this great year of reading. We're going to do, like I said, the next episode, first one of the year. We're going to break it all down, try to get Tyler back on to finish out our race to the finish. We're going to have the awards ceremony. Actually, already mailed Rick an award prematurely.
I'm pretty much sure he's the winner.
He's won. But if he hasn't, Rick, it's on you to come up with the next gift. I'll say that much.
Hey, I just want to know who the loser is, who I get to assign a Star Trek book.
And then the Star Trek is
probably me.
Hopefully headed. You can go beam Freddie up over there and leave me over here alone. And I'm very excited for us to get to all of that. But tonight we have a monumental roundtable voted on by you, the fan. Or if you didn't see me point at you, if you're out, driving your car or walking your dog, or I just pointed. It's you that we're talking about.
I thought,
we are. What's that?
Just to be clear, we have more than one fan. I thought you were saying
collectively,
you
plural,
the one fan,
right. Y'all.
No, yeah,
we are
fans.
As voted on by the fans.
Yes,
we have Star Wars Galaxies: The Ruins of Dantooine, and I don't know that there's been this much buzz on a roundtable. I mean, we've had people talking about it. We got an art contest going on. I tweeted that we were doing it last week. That was wrong. I got ahead of myself. I mean, there's a lot of buzz. We're very excited to talk about this. And without further ado, let's kick it off. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Lookback, proudly part of the Utini Podcast Network. This is a Star Wars books podcast where, admittedly, sometimes we judge a book by its cover, but we learn from our mistakes, where we celebrate our rich EU history as well as dive into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mace, and I'm joined by where is it? There it is. And I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts, including back in the saddle. We got him, folks. We had to send out Zev Sineska in Rogue 2 and the Snowspeeder to find him, but we did it. We found him. Repeat, we found him. Freddie C is back.
Hello, I am back. That's right, I am back, and I just have to say this is a really important day. We did not time this show to be coinciding with the actual shutdown of the Star Wars Galaxies servers, which was today in 2011, according to Diligent Sloth in the chat and Reddit. So pretty coincidental that happens, but I'm pretty excited because we're gonna see some bonus footage at the end of this episode of the game and of the things that we have read about. But also, I'm hanging out here with my little ornaments. Look at that.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
amazing, man.
Best part of the
Freddie's
year.
And then
got,
we've
a Trucet Bakura ornament,
There you go.
as well as
There's
was
the
that
Aw.
shirtless
star.
Sabayoth? What we
That is
got,
shirtless Sabayoth. I don't know if you can get
Beautiful.
that. There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Look at those.
I spent some time on the internet today, Freddie, looking at instructions on how to make my own custom Jeruis Sabayoth figure. So that's what I've been doing with my day. What
Why
about
would
you?
you-
I was gonna say I'd like for you to just work your abs for the next celebration starting now.
Mm,
What, I'm going to
And-
be Jeruis Sabayoth?
You are gonna be Drew Sabayoth.
You can paint on a lot of that.
There you go.
You know who else has abs like Jeruis Sabayoth? Our producer, Rick Grace.
Oh, I thought you were going to Emily, not me. I'm here. I'm here. I don't have the abs. I have the Thor dad bod.
Yes.
Regardless of the bod, this is a podcast. So, half of our listeners don't know what you look like.
They say I have a face for radio.
The other half only sees you from the shoulders up, except for the time you did show your belly on the show.
Mm.
I think that happened. Didn't it happen? You know
Yeah.
who has not shown her belly on the show? Except
Huh?
for she did that one time when
She
she was
did.
pregnant. Emily
Yeah.
Dayback. Yeah, you
I was
did.
gonna say, I was like, I think I did. Yes. Hey, how's it going? We're here. I read the book. I read the book.
All right, that's a review. I am very excited for us to get into it. And get into it, we will. The book that I read
Mhm.
on Freddie C's beach when I went to visit him in California. And I am so unbelievably excited for us to talk about it. That is The Ruins of Dantooine. Do we have to call it by its full title? Star Wars
Yes.
Galaxies,
Can we just call it Dant?
The Ruins of Dantooine?
I'm good with dance.
I don't know about that one. That's going to catch on. We can call it The Lost Stars of Legends.
Hey.
Making that a thing, that's for sure. Definitely making it a thing. Emily, tell us about the book. Who's the spy? When was it written? All the
this
data.
is a classic. Do not judge the book by its cover because pretty much
yes.
nothing on the cover actually happens.
thing.
But the
Not a
author,
thing.
not a single thing.
Wait, what?
Um,
I've never thought about this.
Yet I've hated this because the cover is so terrible. Like this is so not representative of what happens in the book.
You know what I
Like-
like about this? There's a stormtrooper that shoots one of the chicken
There's an
walkers.
explosion.
He's in front of it and blows it up.
Or
Yeah.
maybe he's looking who's
Friendly
coming
fire.
behind him, but it's not like a rebel. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
The author is Voronica Whitney-Robinson, who we're gonna find some really cool facts about here in a second. Well, Jared found them, but we're gonna read them. It was published in 2003, and it was her first and only Star Wars book. Turns out, and she wrote it in just over a month, which is insane to me.
And some of this is some of this is legend. Like how much of this is 100% true? The digging that I did is that she had written the first draft in just over a month, and then how much reviewing and editing is there? However, there is an interview from Star Wars Insider where she does talk about the development of the book, and she cranked out the first draft. So some of this we are broad strokes here, folks. If we really want to fact check in deep detail, that's for some other Legends podcast. That's not for this one.
That's true.
You can continue.
But get
I had to
this,
save
all right,
myself there,
this
for the sake of accuracy.
Fair enough. This made me drop my jaw though. So she wrote it so quickly she could write 20 to 40 pages a night when she was in the Peace Corps in Cameroon. What? Who in the
Yeah.
world writes a book? I want to meet her.
Mm.
Like, who writes a book in a month while she's in the Peace Corps? And Cameron's in Africa, right?
Mhm.
So I don't
can
know that she
imagine-
was writing this book in Cameroon, but like when she was in Cameroon, she practiced a lot as a writer,
Mm.
and so
My
it
word.
was handwriting 20 to 40 pages.
Wow.
Ow.
That's what I understood. Yeah, it's she wrote so fast
Some
she
people
made
just
Rick
have-
Grace's hand hurt. Okay,
My hand's hurting.
what you got, Freddie?
I can't imagine that. That's crazy. Do we want to hit this next one here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, she also wrote a prequel story, a short story called, what is it? Pearls in the Sand. Have you read this one, Jared?
No, but
Neither have I.
I read about it,
That counts.
and once we finish the race to the finish, then I can get into the
Then
short
I'll have
stories.
time.
Well,
Kinda
first
like-
I'm gonna do the comics, and then in 10
Hmm.
years I'll do the short stories.
Yeah.
But here's the cool thing about this: it's on Tatooine, and it involves a crate dragon. So that sounds
Pearls
cool.
in the sand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
that
pretty
makes
cool.
sense. When
Ooh.
so
a
part of
pearl and a
the game,
dragon.
you would go crate hunting, and whenever you would loot their bodies, they have a crate pearl, and you use that for your lightsaber.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
one of the
cool.
cooler bits in the game.
Whoa,
For sure.
that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So she wrote one and only one Star Wars book, and then wrote
think
the
it was two.
one that wrote the prequel short story,
Short story, and then she wrote 2 books out of that, right?
and that's it.
And that's
And that's
Ah,
all she has ever published.
And that's all she wrote.
Hey.
Because she decided, Jared, what did she decide to do instead?
She went back to her career as a marine biologist, which
Marine
is
biologist.
amazing.
Say that again.
Um,
There was some choppiness there.
Yeah, she went back to her career as a marine biologist. And last week, Rick corrected me and said she was a xenobiologist. No, that's
Yeah.
Dusk. That's her career
Yeah.
in the book.
Yes.
But the
What? I thought
actual
she was a
The act-
bioengineer.
That's
Xenobiologist.
Dark Dusk Mistflyer. The character
Yeah.
is a xenobiologist, but
What?
the author, bioengineer. Yeah, you're right. Bioengineer, xenobiologist. She's a scientific expert on animals and then how to make them weapons for the Empire. But that's
Yeah.
the character. But yeah, the author is an actual marine biologist, which is crazy.
So she understands
Yeah, she gets
what
it.
kind of person. Yeah.
That
She
makes
gets
a
it.
Yeah,
lot of sense.
100%, 100% not a
So much
self-insert character.
There you go.
Powerful.
Powerful.
There's a lot of Legends authors who have done that. A
That's
lot
true.
of them.
It's
So,
true.
no big deal. Yeah. What else do we need to say about this?
Oof.
Freddie, how about Haden Blackman's role?
Well, let's see. Also credited with a role in shaping the content of this book is the lead game designer of Star Wars Galaxies, Haden Blackman. Jared, if you don't mind moving your cursor there, I need to take a look at what it says.
I was just like guiding you there, like the hand waving motion
There
of
you
the Jedi Master
you
that
go.
I am.
One of the most influential voices in crafting the EU, Blackman was the lead on this project. So he was also the lead on The Force Unleashed, and wrote a number of huge comics for Dark Horse. That's crazy. Including Darth Vader and the Ghost Prison. What
Oh,
the?
hey. we
My
read
goodness, this person.
I got on a rabbit trail today about Blackman. Dang, is it the Starfighter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Starfighter game. He wrote some comics for that go into the pirate Zim's story. This is Nim, not Zim. Nim. And
Nim.
and his
Oh, I
his
should've gotten
backstory.
Nims.
So yeah, so he's written a lot of game related tie-in comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah,
That's
one
awesome.
of I would say one of the more underrated voices behind crafting the Legends universe.
Definitely.
And is both as a game designer and like a story lead on these games, and then as a comics writer as well. And I wonder what exactly was his role in this, having his name on the cover. To me, I know some key Legends names. I see this and it says with Haden Blackman, and I'm like, oh, Haden Blackman's on this book. But how much did he actually have a role? Here's what we've got. um, commenting on what he did and helped shape this book, he said, Veronica certainly drove the plot, but I was involved to ensure that we were going to the planets that were most interesting in the game and that we were interacting with the in-game characters. I helped guide her in that specific content so that the characters in the books are doing things similar to what players would be doing. We'll let Freddie be the judge of that. Okay, he says that's accurate.
Yeah,
all right,
completely accurate.
Goes on to say that it's even possible that some players may spot their own game contributions in the novel. This blew my mind. This is I don't know if cool is the right word, but it's something. The book highlights not only the content we provided, but also things the player community has developed as well. For instance, one enterprising player took advantage of the game's creature dynamics, which allows players to control creatures and command them to attack other creatures.
Yep.
One player actually did that in conjunction with the opening of his own casino in the game. So when he opened, he had this big tournament and he invited everybody to it. Veronica took that idea and ran with it. And I think that's one of the first scenes in the book. Let's elaborate.
Hysterical.
It's true.
This is a Gungan run casino on Naboo where the creatures dogfight each other to the death. I mean,
it's like Pokemon, but like Star Wars Pokemon.
Oh,
yeah, I can elaborate on this.
Okay.
So there's a whole
Freddie's like, this is my moment.
this is Star Wars
his
Galaxies, right? So yeah, totally. So I was a doctor and a Terrace Kasi artist, basically hand-to-hand combat. I could also heal people, stuff like that. But there are
thought
people
you were
who...
talking about in your real life.
I know, like
this was
me too. Like,
maybe
you switched careers on us there, Freddie.
Life.
In the game.
Back when I was a doctor.
In the game. Yeah. But there are people who were kind of like a hybrid of like a bioengineer where they would be able to sample and incubate and sometimes create some of the rarest creatures that you've seen in Star Wars Galaxies, like a crystal snake, which is basically like a jelly snake. I don't know how to describe it.
We know all about
Just
the crystal
clear.
snakes.
What about Mewtwo?
Rancors, Hemogilas, which we hear about, like everything. We'll hear about the rest of the animals. But it was huge, and what they would do is combine that profession with like a combat profession, and naturally just kind of use that combo as a, they weren't really as strong by themselves as they were with their animal. They were almost unbeatable. So this is very accurate, and there would be players. It's a free open world. We'll see it later on in our bonus footage, but you could do whatever you wanted. You could open up a casino. You could have a lottery, and people will do it. It's the craziest thing. And to see it in the book and to hear about it, it's wild that they actually took the I guess the fans at the time too. This was early days of Star Wars Galaxies. They took the hype of it all and put it in something that we could all read and remember.
I like that because for me, I have absolutely zero attachment to the game. None. I've never played it. I have very little desire in doing so. Maybe one day when I finish reading all the books and the comics, then I'll be like, all right, now we're going to go play that outdated and irrelevant game that has been sunsetted 10 years ago and is still available online through emulators. However, I know that Freddie cares about it. So there's that. But I like that the more I've discovered about all of this, I've seen, the connective tissue to the game. Whitney-Robinson said that she actually didn't play the game very much, just kind of got a cursory level amount of knowledge that she needed in order to be able to write the book. So it sounds like a lot of this stuff came from Blackman. His input then was to make it connect better to the game. And so I appreciate that about it. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and give the spoiler warning. Let's give the summary. Tell the good folks what this book is about. We can then give our ratings, and then we will also get into the characters and the overarching questions. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, spoiler warning. There is a couple of fairly sizable twists in this book that are worth discovering on your own. If you have not yet read the Ruins of Dantooine, I'll go ahead and say this. Like, there's probably never going to be a better time in your life to do it other than joining in alongside us as we
this is your moment.
Celebrate this book. That's right. I mean, it's
the universe telling you that this is the only time you should be reading this book.
Star Wars Galaxies emulator
and playing that. Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the most slept on books in all of Legends. I've never heard a
Mm.
single person ever in my entire Legends fandom talk about the book or give
Jared,
any impressions
before
of it.
we move to the summary.
Sure.
I was on the plane, forgot my headphones, didn't have any other thing to do besides read this book. A guy sitting next to me goes, "Ruins of Dantooine?" And I was like, yeah, and that was it. That was the only interaction we had.
You didn't say I actually have a podcast and this was voted on by the fans, kind of as a joke, but
No defense of the book.
Yeah, I was just folded the cover back.
hold on, I can hear something. You guys hear that? Yep.
What is that?
That's the sound of the bottom of the barrel scraping. That's it right there.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was surprised by this book. This was like, bottom of my list of Legends books to read. And now that I have actually read it, I do not think that it is the worst Star Wars book. So we'll talk about that more. In a minute. So here's the book. This is the summary. And you've been warned. Spoiler warning. Set in the events shortly after A New Hope, Dusk Mistflyer is an imperial xenobiologist held back by the misogyny and patriarchy of the Empire. Her Ithorian friend and supervisor, who speaks out of both sides of his face like a good Ithorian, right? Tindau Nandan is executed in front of her for being a rebel sympathizer. This and her recruitment by rebel spy Finn Darktrin radicalizes Dusk, and she goes off gallivanting planet to planet undercover with her imperial credentials on missions for the Alliance. They tour various worlds from Star Wars galaxies, Corellia, Locke, Naboo, and you guessed it, Dantooine. Her ultimate mission: retrieve a holocron containing the extensive list of rebel operatives from an abandoned Jedi temple turned rebel base on Dantooine. Add in some romance, treachery, cameos by familiar faces from the original trilogy, almost said Old Testament. Moses and Elijah hanging out with Lando Calrissian.
Don't abbreviate the show notes, man.
It's a
Write
trap.
it out.
Add in some romance and treachery, cameos by familiar faces from the original trilogy, such as Darth Vader, Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Lando Calrissian. You've got Star Wars Galaxies, The Ruins of Dantooine. And we haven't even started talking about all the critters yet, so we'll get there. We'll get there in a minute. Let's rate the book. Go around the horn. I'm feeling like Emily's impression so far is the most negative, so we're going to start with her, just based on that facial expression alone. And we've got, your 5 categories here: masterpiece, incredible, and I don't know why you would need any of these other 3, but good, fair, and mediocre. Emily, where does The Ruins of Dantooine rank?
I think it's good. It's good. It's a fast read, which is a blessing. And there are a lot of really cool things. There's fun little Easter eggs, like if you know bits about the game, you can kind of see like that one lady dancing in the cantina when you're like at the beginning of the game. I remember when we had our episode on Star Wars Galaxies where Freddie played it. I remember that like random dancing girl who like showed you how to dance.
Yeah,
and, like you were like
right.
learning how to dance from her. So that was kind of fun, where I felt like I was kind of in the know. So I would say it was good. It's entertaining. There are some significant, albeit not very well foreshadowed twists that just kind of slap you across the face, and then all of a sudden you have to adjust to this brand new twist of the plot. But it was enjoyable. And I will say, I said I was 20% of the way through last week. I did not realize, or I forgot, that Kindle does this charming thing with Star Wars Legends books.
Yeah, it does.
What?
I said, yeah, it does.
Yeah. So like you'll be reading and you'll think like, okay, so I'm 56% of the way through. So I'm like 3 a.m. I can't sleep, pull the book out, accidentally finish the book. I was 56% of the way through the book, according to Kindle. And then all of a sudden the book was over and I'm reading the acknowledgments and I was real confused. So like part of I felt like the pacing was a little strange because mentally I was prepared to be halfway through the book. So that's why I was kind of braced for like more. But if I had known where I was, I think it would have been a little bit less jarring. But it was good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to maybe 50% of my Star Wars reading friends, which are not many.
That's generous. I don't know that I would go that far, but
yeah, it was good.
I would recommend it to anybody who thinks it's just based on the cover the worst Star Wars
Ruins
book
of
ever.
Dantooine.
And I would say like it's actually not that bad. There's a lot about it that is not great, but is okay. So that's a decent review.
I don't think it's the worst Star Wars book I've ever read.
No.
Splinter was way worse. So like
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that.
yeah.
I was having a discussion with a guy at church the other day about that, and he said, "Yeah, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. That's the worst one."
Oh yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
was like,
But it's almost charming how bad it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It is.
It's got
It
a
is.
special place in history.
It
that's,
does.
That's the only reason for its. We accept it for that reason. That's
Uh-huh.
it.
Our episode where we talked about that book with Heather, it was like our 8th episode ever.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my fondest Legends Look Back memories ever.
Aw.
That's a
Okay,
good one.
and hey, Justin, you joke in the chat that Crystal Star is the best. Hey, I'm reading it right now, and it's stupid, but it's
Don't make me read that next. That's not going to be 2023 number 1. All right, you
I'm
had your laugh.
enjoying-
You made me read it.
I'm
It was
enjoying the
fine.
heck out of it. It's ridiculous. I'm not gonna act like it's well written or well plotted out, but it at least that's another episode. That's right. I'm discovering all about Waru. Oh, am I?
Oh,
and the werewolves. Those are in there. Okay, it's actually I want to make the Crystal Star my tree topper. I want to like figure out a way to fashion it to the top of my little Christmas tree. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
The Crystal Star,
Crystal
Yep.
Star.
the tree topper. Okay,
There's a
who's up
song
next?
coming
Rick,
on. Okay.
Rick, what's your review of the Ruins of Dantooine?
Okay, so there were definitely a lot of things I liked about the book. Like we've already said, hands down, way better than the cover.
yeah.
A lot of interesting creatures, prominent female lead. There's some good back and forth plot stuff. It's easy to read. It wasn't poorly written by
No.
any means. I like the dynamic of Dusk being a follower and a leader and kind of finding her leadership. That was cool. Also, first time there's a Finn in Star Wars. Take that, canon. And he's the opposite of sequel trilogy Finn. He's a Imperial agent who charades as a rebel to really do his Imperial dirty work. Spoiler. But yeah, there's definitely some pacing issues. Some things you definitely see coming. I feel like had the book been worked on just a little bit more, it would be a fantastic book. So I think I'm gonna give it it's a solid good. Definitely high good. I enjoyed it. It was not what I expected at all, and so it was a good experience for me.
Wow. Okay. Well, I thought I was gonna have the one of the higher reviews. I don't know that I would give it good. I'm thinking it's probably fair. Borderline.
Jared,
good.
what in the world? You
But
shoved this book down
No,
our
no, no.
throats.
So I liked it.
It was your favorite Legends
But
book.
but I like it, but I don't know that it's good. There's a lot about it
That doesn't
that really falls flat. I just think Dusk is totally uninteresting in every way, but in every way. The most exciting thing to me, obviously, the
Put out the
twist-
gate with that.
The
Oh,
twist
man.
was great. Yeah, somebody said the opening chapter slaps. I totally agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The cameos for me were so comical that when Lando starts hitting on her in the cantina, I was dying.
Oh man.
I think that's what I was reading on the beach was Lando hitting on her, or at least like I'm like running along sunny California a couple days before Star Wars Celebration, listening to the robot read it to me in my ears and trying to avoid the temptation to snag people's limes that are hanging over their fences. Then Lando says, hey, what have we here? How you doing? Whatever he says. And I was like, Lando's in this book. I mean, yeah, it's some funny things, but at the same time, those are, kind of cringe.
Yeah.
All of the cameos, right?
Even whenever the Han Solo and Chewie thing, whenever that came in, even I, the king of corny
Oh,
jokes, was
man.
like, ugh, really?
So here's the thing. It's very Star Warsy to just like see Vader hanging around like a starport and then just disappear. And seeing these things happen, you know what? In the bonus footage, you're gonna have the same feeling, I think, that you have right now.
Okay.
I've gained a greater
It
appreciation
translates
for
really
the book
well.
as I've been, diving into
Yeah.
the behind the scenes of it. I've really
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed this. I had just always heard for forever, this is the worst Star Wars book. This is the worst. This one alongside
It's not even close.
Crystal Star, I've always heard like these are the
Way
two
worse ones.
the worst ones. And
Oh,
they're
yeah,
not
there
to
is.
me. They're not. Oh yeah, there's quite a few that are worse. I'm reading one of them right now. Oh. So the fact that I thought it was the worst and it's not makes it really special, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that makes
That's a
it
good way to put it. Special. That's what it should be. Add like a little asterisk. Like there's like forget our normal rating
Mediocre,
system.
fair, special,
It's
good.
Special. Like that is.
That's a lot
this
of Legends
book.
books. A lot of Legends books are so special in their own
This
unique
is
way.
the
Much to the
most
mind's eye.
special.
Special.
That's exactly, and that's why we talk about them. The twist at the end, the reason why this is the Lost Stars of Legends,
Oh my God.
really makes this book come around in a big way for me.
Yeah.
The more I've sat with it, the more I've kind of thought, I don't know that the relationship was all that well fleshed out.
It
and-
makes zero sense.
That's the part that
Zero.
I just didn't like. That's what made the
Yeah.
book good for me. Was it just like the romance part? Everything just like was a little clunky, right? There wasn't enough time to develop a lot of things, and
and
I was
she's
like,
so
go
head
the-
over heels into him.
Yeah,
And it's like
go the
that's her
Rogue
whole
One route.
personality is animals, and I'm into you. That's the personality.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like
So Freddie, what's your ranking?
It's good. So here's the thing. There is a lot in this book that if you've played Star Wars Galaxies, even just for like a few years when it was out a while ago, and if you read this book, you would have seen a lot of things that are just like, oh, I know what that is. Oh, I know exactly what that is. Nim's stronghold, been there, seen him. I know exactly how he sits, explained in that book, exactly how it is seen in the game. What is it like? Lysopene darts and wire mesh traps. Oh yeah, like that's part of bounty hunting. One of the crafts that you can do is make those things, or use it for.
Wait, this game has crafts?
I was just
Yeah,
thinking that.
They have snacks
You can
too?
make things. Viserion brandy that
is
was
there,
mentioned.
is there
like
Bible
that's a
story? Is this like
craftable
is this
item.
VBS? Is this the VBS of Star Wars?
This is hilarious to me.
Star Wars.
It's crazy. They're like survival knife. Like that's an easy thing that's made by anybody like a trader can make that. The DH-17 blasters, right? Like all the animals, everything that was mentioned. This is stuff that playing the game you just see, and you see it all the time. Of course, I played it for a long time, almost 10 years, 20 years.
No, it's been out since 03, right?
So there, I think it was maybe 02, 03.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. I was
Yeah.
starting high school at that time, so it sounds about right.
Yeah. Wow. So,
so-
greater appreciation for you as the ultimate Star Wars Galaxy
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, seriously.
We need to get
Absolutely. I
Steven
mean,
Dedicated.
Kent to read this book.
it was crazy. It was crazy to just like the Pico Pico, Albatross, hearing them. Like I hear them all the time when I was just roaming around Naboo, and the way they describe it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is weird.
I have
this
no
is like
idea
the first Star
what
Wars
words you're
book.
even saying to me right now.
Yeah, me neither.
This book felt like I was reading Star Wars, and I was like, wait a minute, I feel like I kind of lived it for. It was weird. It was the weirdest. It's like wearing VR, being inside of a story, and you're like, wait, I honestly felt like I was there for a second.
This would be the worst
Um,
game to see in VR.
Oh, it'd be interesting.
No offense. Bless its heart.
Yeah,
My
so
brother,
it's good.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a bonus video with him soon where he has just played through Knights of the Old Republic for the first time.
Oh.
And I was with him, and I wish I'd recorded this reaction of when we popped the game on, and they played like the intro credits, like the little trailer at the beginning of the game, and his first he'd watch me play it a lot younger. When he was younger, I played it a lot, and he was always there. He'd play it with me and stuff. We turned this on the other day, and he goes, "Whoa, this is old. Oh, it looks so bad." I mean, just like for the entire 2 or 3 minutes of watching that trailer, and this is right around that same time period, right? Knights of the
Yeah.
Republic is 03, 04, right?
Yeah,
This
same time.
Yeah. I don't know
I
that I
feel
would
like-
need it in VR, man.
I feel like Knights of the Old Republic was a bit more clunky than Star Wars Galaxies, but I mean, we'll take a look at the end when we in our bonus bonus.
Yeah, we will.
footage.
We do have
Yeah.
some footage from Star Wars Galaxies, but before we get there, let's talk about the characters. Let's start off with none other than the best
most
name,
uninteresting.
the most uninteresting character, but the best name in all of
Yeah.
Star Wars
That's
literature,
so true.
Dusk Mistflyer. Do you
That's
think
so
that
cool.
she created this with like a Star Wars name generator? Or
Oh yeah, totally. Sounds like it.
Or like
For
a
sure.
stripper name generator.
hey, get out of here.
Dusk
All right.
Mistflyer.
I gave a hot take a
Oh.
minute ago that I didn't really find her personality all that compelling.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't really
About
want to
that
be
until you said it, but like as I'm thinking it, I'm like, yeah, she's so vanilla.
yeah.
Like she's just like doesn't know she's pretty, doesn't know she's important, and then like the Rebel Alliance is like, yeah, you're cool. Like you could be like a spy for us, and then there's like Finn.
Because her boss
and
was a
that's it.
spy, and then
Yeah.
he died, and they're like, well, we still need somebody to do this. So
Like, you're
the
important.
next
She's
best
like,
thing.
I don't know, am I?
Yeah,
Am
she's
I?
very-
See, I don't know. I thought she had a decent arc where she started
That's
super
true.
vanilla and then kind of became who the rebellion wanted her to be, but maybe also who she wanted to be
She
herself.
became butterscotch.
Yeah, maybe butterscotch. It was a slight.
Mm.
I don't know. I guess either she's totally pushover and just does whoever's in charge tells her to do, or she developed in this book and found
That's
Well,
true.
independent thinking.
You know, I mean, to be honest, I think they're very, the author's very clear on Dusk, who she is. She just wants to be with her animals, away from people. People don't, she's very introverted. Doesn't even get jokes, right? She's like, well, what isn't gonna kill us on the planet? And she says it and doesn't get it, and it's like, come on, how
Good
could you
point.
not get that?
And even to counterpoint myself here,
yeah,
the more I think about it, I do have to acknowledge the big patriarchal elephant in the room, which is it's very explicit. I mean, very on the nose about the fact that she's suppressed by the patriarchy. The Empire keeps her in her place, and she's passed over for promotions. And that does, I think it could have been, handled a little bit more subtly, but that is very real, and that does happen. And the patriarchy is not a joke. And Lord knows that there are women who, once that has happened, here I am, a white man explaining the patriarchy. Okay. Once that has happened
Go on.
for a while to a person, and you're repeatedly steamrolled and put in your place, it reshapes your psyche. And so you begin to think, am I good enough?
yeah.
Do I deserve the promotion?
Mm.
And
Stay
so
in your lane.
So then the rebellion does see something in her, and they need her to be brave and to take risks, and it helps. The rebellion is led by strong-willed women, Mon Mothma and Princess Leia, so it helps her break free from the patriarchy.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
And
I just explained away the patriarchy in 2 minutes.
You did.
when
Look
you
at that.
when we see the bonus footage later, I think it'll put into perspective how grand this whole thing that she did actually was, because
Mm.
we'll see visually what it took to do a lot of this. Now, we're not going to see the whole thing because I cut out a lot of footage of me traveling, but I'm assuming she was on foot, right? And to see a lot of this, it was probably like over 50 kilometers to just get to like 2 locations, not counting the way back.
Yeah, I'm
in the
American.
day.
Kilometers means nothing to me.
What's that in miles?
It's 31 miles.
Okay, thank you. Here's something I did like about her. She defies the classic Star Wars character classifications, right?
It does.
So if you think
Yeah.
about, if you're crafting your own Star Wars character, there's basically only 5 options ever in the entire history of the galaxy, for the most part: Jedi, Sith, smuggler, bounty hunter,
Yep.
or soldier.
I mean, well, she
Those
was
are the
a
only ones. You
soldier.
have no other options.
Farmers.
No, they're just the
They're kinda
farmers.
just
Okay, no, but
stormtrooper
but
fodder.
for an adventure, Rick, you don't get to choose that as a character classification for the lead in a
No,
book.
she's a soldier.
Rick would.
She's a
Luke
soldier.
Skywalker, moisture
He's a-
farmer.
He
Jedi.
fits the
Jedi.
Jedi classification,
But
more
he
than
starts
the
as a
farmer.
farmer. He's a
Aunt
farm
Beru,
boy.
Toast.
Well, and
Oh.
Dusk starts as like, I don't know, scientist and ends as a soldier, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's who she becomes. This is like a coming of age story to me. And like weirdly, like you said that this is like the most uninteresting character. And I felt I see a lot of myself in this character.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Emily. You're very interesting as a stay-at-home mom.
It's just funny because I thought I was like, no, hey, okay.
No, I'm teasing. You are. You're
Okay.
amazing. You ran a ultra marathon.
Just keep talking,
Just
Jared.
stop. Take your foot out and just be quiet for a minute. No, it's like if you're, I don't know, I rode horses growing up. And so like I was more comfortable around animals than people for a while. And like I read a lot. And when you read books about history, it's patriarchy all over because that's how history was written, basically. And so like it kind of does, like, even though I wasn't like suppressed by men in my life, because I was just immersed in books, that became kind of normal to me. So like it makes sense. Like, yeah, women don't get ahead. Plus, that's like the Empire's famous for that. So I don't know, like it just reminded me of when I was younger, like how my mindset. So it would make sense to me that this was written by a young woman who is still figuring out who she is.
Yeah,
that was really well said. And it turns out that maybe the women should explain the patriarchy problem more than the men. So
oh, it's okay. It's okay.
I like
It's
how-
totally
I like
uninteresting. I
how
get it.
in 2003 though, this book was already in on it, but like digging
Yeah.
in hard too, which was fine because that needed to happen in 2003. So it's
Yeah.
that's why when I first read it, I was like, oh yeah, Emily, I could see her liking this part about, you know, this message to a bunch of gamers.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't even think it was like really pushing that so much. It was just sort of like pointing out the flaws of Star
Yeah.
Wars, so that like the Empire is
Oh,
patriarchal
totally.
and like very much anti-alien. And so it would make sense that she
Yeah.
and Tendal became as close as they were, and he was a mentor to her. And then when she's kind of left rudderless and a man steps in and steers her in a new direction. But
Yeah.
can we talk about Finn though? Can we like move on and talk
yeah,
about this guy?
absolutely.
Because why did he ever need to be like a double agent? Why was that, like, why couldn't he have just been an agent of the Empire who's like, hey, listen, I have the inn. You want to come help me find this, like, what is it? The oh my gosh, the
Holocron?
holocron. Yeah, like why did he have to be a double agent?
That's part of where I feel like this book was very short. It didn't even have the time to describe a lot of that stuff or make us feel, you know, like that feeling that you have is pretty right on how I felt too. I was like, why? Why couldn't you just go where you were going?
Like, it was interesting, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I don't think it was woven in very well, because it was like
Yeah,
they
that's
got
the
the
one.
holocron
Yep.
and then it was all of a sudden he's like, I'm so sorry, and then she
It
has
was
no
too
idea
tidy
for
without
so
that.
long.
Without that, the book is totally uninteresting.
Hey, Jared,
Don't you knock over my Christmas
I
tree.
was about to
don't
tell
you?
you,
I see that movie.
It's
there
wiggling.
actually is something behind you moving this time.
No, my
Really?
dog is trying to get cozy with the tree skirt down there. And hey. All right, yeah. So I think the book
Yeah.
really falls flat without that. I mean,
Mhm.
this saved the book for me.
Hmm.
But
It was interesting, but like I
I do
didn't
see
see
it
it
wasn't.
coming at all, and I'm a little bit mad that I didn't see it coming.
you're not supposed to
anyone else
that's-
see it?
That's my problem with these. Is you always see it coming, and this time I didn't, and I was like,
I like
oh.
to know. I like to think I'm smart and that I knew before everybody else.
Well,
Did anybody
see,
else
that
see
was
it
the
coming?
thing. Something was coming at one point, right? And I was like, I don't really know. It was kind of weird. I had
Yeah, it
a,
was
I
like
had
an
a sense
icky
of
feeling.
it. It was an icky
Hmm.
feeling. So she did really well at giving you an icky feeling, but you're like, what the point? What's the point of
All right.
that?
What's
I don't
wrong
understand.
Jared, I'm
Like
gonna
it-
blame you. It's all your fault because I did not see it coming, but I predicted.
But I called it the Lost Stars of
Yeah,
Legends.
and so I was on the lookout for either, okay, this is going to be a really cool book of all of the stories of the original trilogy where there's little things in the background, which is not that. Instead, it's a forbidden love kind of, opposite sides of the war thing. And so I was expecting either Dusk to be an Imperial agent the entire time and loyal to the Empire. He was faking to be a rebel spy, a newly formed rebel, or him to really be working for the Empire. So I was expecting one of those big twists, and I was leaning toward what's his face, Finn. But yeah, you spoiled it for me.
That's an
So
excellent
what
point.
you're
I didn't get
saying
it until the
is-
very end. That oh yeah, that's why he said the Lost Stars.
Yeah. So what you're saying
I
is
get it now.
I am the one that ruined Dantooine.
Hey! That was golden. I applaud.
so good.
The
I
ruins of
applaud.
Dantooine were the friends we had all along.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh.
What do you with Finn though? You think there's too many Fins?
No.
I've got
Yeah,
a
this- is
No,
this
I
the
like
original
it.
Finn?
One,
I like that
2,
name.
3, 4, 5. I think I'm counting on the Wook
Wait.
16 to 18 different Fins.
Are you
in
serious?
Star Wars.
No.
Oh.
Wow.
Why so many? I've only ever heard of this one and the canon one.
Same. I mean, that I can think of at least. I
There's
can
a
just
canon got a
imagine
little too
J.J.
happy with it.
Abrams sitting down by his nice fire, by the fireside, reading
Reading
Ruins
the
of
Ruins of
Dantooine.
Dantooine.
I like this Finn guy. I want him.
That's a cool name. Let's add an extra N. Smart.
Is there that many Finns?
That was
Well, yeah,
a
I mean,
lot.
they're all very minor characters, except for one of the lead characters in the Invasion comics.
Hmm.
The comics that accompany the New Jedi Order is named Finn.
Finn.
Besides
Just
that, I think
works.
they're all fairly minor.
Hmm.
Yeah, did anybody see the twist coming? Obviously, Emily and I
No,
said we didn't.
Not at all.
Rick was looking for it,
Mm.
so you saw it coming a
Rick
little
saw it
bit.
from miles away.
Yeah.
But like as you
10
spoiled it.
kilometers away.
No, all right. So I think what would have fixed this for me is if we'd gotten his perspective a few times.
Yes.
If they had
But we really
woven in
didn't.
that he was torn and like a little bit more about what he was thinking,
Hmm.
I think it would have been more well-rounded because he was just dark and broody and then had like weird times where he was letting her take the lead and then he would take the lead. Like I was kind of confused why she even put that in there. Like that to me did not seem like a clear lead that he was a spy.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted more about his character.
And like the times that he just would totally like blow up all of the Imperial agents or, kill them. Like I get that, yeah, you got to follow the mission. The mission comes first, but he was conflicted, but then he wasn't conflicted. But yeah, I that's a really good point. We didn't get his
Yeah.
perspective, and that would have bridged the gap, I think.
It's actually one of
Yeah.
my bigger complaints about the book is it doesn't jump around perspectives enough. Is it entirely from Dusk's perspective?
I
At
feel like
least
it is.
Yes.
It feels like it is.
90%. I think the best Star Wars books flesh out 4 to 6 different perspectives.
That's why they're so long
They
compared
go
to
back
this
and
one.
forth between like a Luke chapter and then a Han chapter and then a Leia chapter and then a villain
Yeah.
chapter. You want to get behind the scenes with on the Star Destroyer, with your Thrawns or your
Mhm.
Dalas, and this one is just you were just for better or for worse, you're hanging out with Dusk Mistflyer. You know who was a great character though? The absolute goat of Ithorians. Tin
Mhm.
Down and Dawn.
Tune
Can
down,
we all
down,
say that 5
down.
times fast?
Tune down,
let's-
down, down.
If we all say it at once, it'll sound like it's coming out of both sides of our
we
Ithorian
go.
faces. Ready? Tin
Tin
down,
down,
down.
down. Yeah. Beautiful. I love,
Sonorous.
love the way that Ithorians talk out of both sides of their faces.
I mean, where did you expect them to talk out of?
Okay.
Their nose? Like, of course, if they got 2 mouths, they're going to use them.
The amount of time in KOTOR.
Sorry, I was
The-
late.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Whereas Rick, who always talks out of his. Never mind.
Wow.
Tin down. Tin Down and Dawn was shots fired. Was killing the bleeding heart Ithorian
Oh, man.
the most villainous atrocity in
Yeah.
Imperial history?
Oh my
Because
gosh.
that's what I've put here in the notes.
What?
I think
a
it's worse than the
beautiful-
massacre of Alderaan.
Wow.
No, I felt like that in that
Worse?
whole moment. No.
Yeah, this is worse. Killing Tin Down and Dawn is the worst thing the Empire ever did.
Totally.
No.
I just felt it when it all happened. I was like, it's hurting me so much.
It
And
was
I could just
compelling.
hear
It was.
chorus of sadness from the children, just
Mm.
crying in agony over this atrocity. That's how I
It was
felt.
definitely an atrocity, but the enslavement of the Wookiees is much more atrocious. That's the word.
I don't know,
about
man.
in this-
This is pretty bad.
It
The-
was personally brutal to Dusk,
Yeah.
like to the main character.
Yeah.
That was the most compelling reason for her to leave.
That
The
was
emotional-
very shocking. I will say that.
The emotional resonance of this really hit for me. I was kicked back in the swimming pool. I was up on the floaty. Nice evening. Just enjoying my Star Wars book. Yeah, kicking back in the swimming pool.
Please fall.
Just-
Please fall.
Just with it, yeah, it might happen. This chair was a freebie. I'm just reading the book. Dusk. It's literally dusk, not the character's name. The perfect early summer breeze coming through, and then a massacre. And I'm just like, oh no! It was really heartbreaking. It made me sick. It was a lot to take in. That's my point. It's not literally the worst thing that the Empire ever did, as much as out of Imperial atrocities that I've ever read in Legends, this one,
Yeah,
It's very
It
personal.
was
one is-
one of the best.
it was.
It hit.
It
Yeah.
You know, the fact that and this is why this book is pretty good in my opinion. It's not incredible. There's a lot of books that belong in incredible that you would say this is incredible. This is a good one because it really tugs at you when it needs to, and it really comes out of left field to surprise you with that twist, right? You don't expect it. I mean, these are the four of us. We love Star Wars. I feel like we would be able to see a Star Wars trope twist like that, and I would say this is the second time that they've gotten me. To be honest, Ruins of Dantooine and Scoundrels.
Oh yeah, this is a good twist. Zahn as good as his twists, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Very good at his twists. He should be a pretzel maker. That
What a twist.
Zahn. Yeah, once he retires from bookmaking. All right, so let's move on from the characters, and we'll finish all this next week in part 2. No, we're gonna do it all tonight. We don't need 2 weeks on the Ruins of Dantooine. As we get into the overarching questions, let's just do like 3 of these, okay? First, before we move on, any of the original trilogy characters that you feel like deserves a shout out for their cameo? Anybody have an especially compelling cameo? My vote's probably with Lando personally.
Yeah, Lando.
I love Lando.
He's awesome.
I
His
love
was
it.
probably
I
So
love
adorable.
Lando.
You're like, Lando.
the most
So
natural.
cringy.
You know, like he's in his element.
Yes.
The rest of them felt
And
forced.
when she was
Yeah.
like, why would anybody bet with a vehicle? And he's like, oh,
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know."
good. Yeah, I know. That's a good line. Here's my working hypothesis that I'm workshopping, okay? I think, hot take, you can splash Lando into any Star Wars story that he fits in the timeline for, which is, I don't know, like 60 years worth of stories.
Yeah.
You just have him show up and hit on the girls in a cantina. And I think that he works perfectly in that role.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's so charming when he does it. Like
it
it's
works every time.
yeah,
It's
like
Billy D, that's why.
he's such a cringy character. And I think maybe he's just like so very cookie cutter and like he fits the mold just right. And it's like almost nostalgic because when we all saw it in the movies, at least when I saw it in the movies, I was like, why was this approved? Like this is so weird. And so it's almost like nostalgic for like the original trilogy. You're like, oh, Lando,
Did
you
you just
haven't
call
changed.
Lando cringy?
Yeah, he's so
Oh.
cringy.
That was the greatest atrocity. That was worse.
He's like
of-
icky. Like, I don't know. He becomes really cool. But like when you first meet him, you're like, who is this guy?
Whoa,
And like
whoa,
who
whoa.
let him in?
Yeah, well, for most of Legends, he's the fun uncle who takes the solo kids around on joyrides in his
He
pleasure
grows
yacht.
on you. That's the thing. It's like and he comes on strong, but over time you're like, oh, he's got a heart of gold. Like he's so cute.
But he definitely
Much like the whiskey that he promotes. What's the name of that whiskey that he did commercials for?
Oh,
Not
isn't it
Lando,
Colt
Billy
40
D.
or something like that.
Colt 45. Yeah.
Yeah,
There it
Colt
is.
45.
he.
What's that, Rick?
I was gonna say that. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, Lando's got great stories, and so even if he's not there hitting on the female characters, just it's believable that he would be in the background of every single story.
That's true. He's
Just
like
because he's full of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's almost like
Yeah.
Freddie C in a lot of ways.
Yes.
You're like, yeah, he'd be there.
That
He'd
is
be at
true.
like a winery, like tasting with George Lucas or whatever. You're like, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes
Hey,
sense.
it was Dave Filoni.
It checks. That's right.
Same thing.
Freddie, we were
Yeah.
talking about this before the show that Freddie has been to his alter ego, Fred.
The
Just had a
doctor.
wine tasting with Dave Filoni once. So
Just,
that
like,
happened.
Stop. Like there's
It's
just
a
the
story
amount
for
of
another
like.
day.
Okay.
It is a story for another day. That's a fun.
You know what else needs to stop? Putting super secret lists into holocrons. All right.
Yes.
I think this is
Yes.
the worst trope in
Yes.
all of Star Wars storytelling. This is worse
So
than
many
Super Weapon of the
times.
Week.
It's not.
Put
Oh,
all of our
that's
knowledge in
agreed.
this.
And why? That's not
It
even
makes
what
sense.
holocrons do. Like that's not how the
Right.
holocrons work.
So
That's not
confused.
how holocrons work.
Exactly.
That's not how it works.
That's not
All
how
right.
it works.
Someone
So,
tell Star
I've got-
Wars they did it wrong.
I've got an example here. It's Christmas time. You want to give a gift for a loved one. Imagine, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this if you want to keep your gift a secret, for example, right?
Oh yes.
If you want to get a gift for a loved one, you need to pay cash
Yeah.
and tell no one.
Yeah.
Don't keep your receipts. You want to get a gift for a loved one, pay cash, hide it somewhere, not in your house,
Mhm.
like your workplace. And this is how to keep Deep Dark
This is
Secrets with
also how
Legends
to-
Look Back, apparently.
There's also like buy drugs or something. You
No,
want to
you
get
want
a
neuron-
gift
My reason is altruistic. It's
for a
altruistic.
loved one.
Hey,
It's not that hard to hide the evidence. You just
who's your gift
Okay,
guy?
yeah.
You're paying way
How
too much for
evidence
gifts.
are you hiding, Jared? Somebody check this man's workplace.
I'm
will-
actually a
one of
very
these?
bad gift giver.
I
You want one of
I
these?
I just bought a gift for my family for Christmas. I was gonna be surprised, but I accidentally used like the family PayPal, and so
That's
within
what I'm saying.
within seconds, Jessica was like, "What did you spend $200 on?" And I'm like, "Disney on Ice tickets, you jerk." So
Aw.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
it
my
was Disney
point.
on Ice.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's
It's a good
hilarious.
gift. All right,
That is
so
a good
so yeah, you're a great dad, Rick.
Thanks.
Great dad.
I also bought an
bad
Xbox tonight.
husband.
Did not tell my wife,
Oh.
and I'm in trouble. So I had to.
Please tell me you bought the original Xbox so that you can play Knights of the Old Republic.
I already have the original Xbox.
Okay,
This is
that's
the
the right
series
answer.
Series S.
with the controller that's
cheap
this
one.
big.
Yeah, well, no, I got the smaller one, but I remember those. The Duke.
So, yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. If you're leading a super secret government overthrowing galaxy-wide coup, you don't store your volunteer list on a holocron and forget to evacuate it from your rebel base. I just
Look
think
up the
that somebody
holocron.
needs to teach.
Is there an
rebels.
overused like clear your browser history joke in there somewhere? Like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that hard to figure out.
cookies
Um,
for
so, like,
Santa.
We just had Andor, for example.
Sorry.
Andor, there's so much that they flesh out in that show regarding who's part of the Rebel Alliance. Some members of the Rebels don't know how to even trace back to who recruited them. Right?
Oh yeah.
And so there's a couple of little pieces of connectivity, and they find out, hey, Andor, he knows who recruited him. He knows what my face looks like, so we got to kill him, right? And so that show, I feel like, does a great job
Yes.
at dealing with the webs
Yeah.
of secrecy in the rebellion. Whereas, Ruins of Dantooine,
Come on in,
exists.
guys. It's like a new visitor at church. Like, we're so glad you're here. Here, sign up
Want
this
to start a
information
rebellion?
card.
You pay
Yeah.
with cash.
that's exactly
in a
right.
fire pit inside of a deep cave system.
Which we
Who
will see.
the heck makes a fire in a deep cave system? Anyway, there's just
Yeah.
There's a lot missing.
So we've talked about its connections to Lost Stars. So we've beat that dead horse. We are going to talk about the cover contest before the show is over. We got I think one to show off. Some more are on their way. I'm workshopping a couple myself. Freddie, obviously you love Star Wars Galaxies, and I want to get to your tour, so we can talk more in a second about if this makes us want to play Star Wars Galaxies. Let's ask one more thing before we get into the creatures and then Freddie's tour. Okay, in the grand scope of video game tie-in books, there's been some recent ones in canon. We're not talking about those. Those are on that shelf. We're not talking about those. In Legends, to my count, I could be wrong, you've got your Old Republic books. There's 4 full-length novels that tie into the Old Republic game. We've got 10 books that tie into the X-Wing games. There's 3 illustrated novellas that tie into the Dark Forces games. 5 books in Republic Commando, and then The Force Unleashed has 2 novelizations, so I don't know if those count.
Shadow of the Empire.
Oh, I missed one. Shadows of the Empire. Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so you've got the book and the comic. So all right, so out of the grand scope of Legends video game spin-off tie-in novels. How does the Ruins of Dantooine rank?
I haven't read all these, but from what I gather,
You've read some.
I have read some.
You've read some.
It sounds like the details are there, you know, and like
Yes.
Freddie said, it you have some deja vu where you're like, I've been here before. What is happening? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those, like, I hadn't played the game, and it's an off and on thing. 6 months here, 6 months there. But reading it and kind of forgetting that it's a Star Wars Galaxy's Star Wars book, if that makes sense. It really it was like, oh my gosh, yeah. I know everything that they're talking about. I know exactly what this thing is that they just mentioned, and I know its purpose and how it can be used, and everything she said about the animals that we'll get to, some of the animals, everything she said about them. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. That's how it is. I've seen it. It's all generated by computer, but it works. But this is definitely the most immersive book out of every spin-off video game book that Star Wars has made. To me, this one feels the most immersive.
Maybe that's my issue, is it's the only one of these where I haven't played the game. And so I don't feel like it really hits as hard. I think that like the X-Wing books, Republic Commando, for example, those really committed hard to the story more than trying to connect to the game. And so those, the author really ran with creating their own characters, building out their own little universe that is, tangentially related to the game. Whereas this, it looks like it sticks a lot closer to the game. You think that's a fair assessment, Freddie?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's successful in one way, not as successful in the other. It just depends on what your measuring stick is.
Yeah.
Emily, you did some research for us pre-show about all the creatures, the critters, the monsters, if you will, in Star Wars Galaxy's The Ruins of Dantooine. That's a mouthful. All right. We have a little slideshow of a handful of these creatures. Emily is going to be your tour guide, your Dusk Mist Flyer, if you will.
No.
To everything that you need to know about all of the creatures of
everything.
Star
We don't
Wars.
have enough time. There were like a million of them. There were so many creatures.
Are they the same person?
So why don't?
God.
Hey, Dusk Mist Flyer. There she is. I do think Emily has more of a resemblance to Avar Christ than to Dusk Mist Flyer.
Okay,
but...
yeah, I'll give you that one.
Thank you, Jared. Slowly filling
Digging
that hole
myself
back in.
out of the cave.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.
Could you
All
just
right,
turn your head to the?
You throw up the you throw up the pictures of the critters that we've got ready for the stream.
I'll do my best.
And so Emily can talk about those, and then Emily has some more that she's come up with that you can at least just give a cursory explanation of.
Gosh. Okay.
What's first?
We've got anglers at the top of the list. We have anglers, an image of the anglers. Oh, look
man.
at this beautiful
That's
thing.
sick. Okay, so those were the ew.
Mucus
What was this?
salamander?
This is not what I had imagined. Is the angler, that wasn't the no, the dally rake, that was a different one. So what
Yeah, that was
when did
living
we
there.
see the angler? Eats mucus salamanders?
I don't remember
yeah.
these guys at all.
So,
I don't remember
the
that.
anglers, they're blob-like crustacean mollusks with dangling tentacles,
Dangling.
That's
and they
disgusting.
eat mucus salamanders, and they look rad, and that's why we're talking about them.
Oh my
Moving
God.
on.
Sick.
So we're gonna talk about all the creatures, and then we're each gonna go around and give our favorite of the different crazy critters from the Ruins of Dantooine. Does that make sense?
I just want to say
All right,
mucus
so we've got
salamanders.
this like crusty segmented blob,
Mhm.
and
Gorgle bat.
that's an angler.
Yep.
Borgle bats, native to the moon of Naboo, they were known for capturing living prey and bringing them back to their warrens, where they would slowly drain the bodies of blood. These were like legendary status in the book because they're just built up to be these crazy
Yeah.
night
Evil.
vampire things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't imagine them quite like that, but they look very dangerous.
This Star Wars Galaxy concept art is really cool. Freddie, do you have the book about all this?
Yeah, I do have the book about
Of
all
course
this,
you do.
actually.
Of course you do. There's a book that's the
Bloodsucker.
art of Star Wars Galaxies, and so most of these images
Yeah.
are from the book.
I think I showed that book on one of our
The
shows.
art
once.
episode. Yeah, for sure. All right, dally rakes.
Yes. So these
guys
are
are
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah, they're arachnids native to Talus. They can live on land or in the water indefinitely. What they do quite often is find a solid perch near water and dangle in their front 2 arms as lures. They wait for some unsuspecting fish to swim by and spear it with their venomous talons.
Mm.
What a cool idea. Love this creature.
They're a
Loved
pain.
it.
They're a pain. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah.
Has one of them ever caught you? Like you were down swimming and you were like, "Ooh, what is that?" Oh snap! I've been snagged by a dally rig.
I mean, they just go through the water and they keep attacking you, and you gotta just get out of there.
Well,
It looks like a praying mantis kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they
interesting. I
do.
thought it
They're
was more
like-
like a spider.
size of an SUV.
All right.
Sounds about right.
Next, we have the Falumpa set.
That's
Ooh, big boy.
Love that.
definitely from Dr. Seuss.
it sounds like Winnie the Pooh.
It does. They're large
it's
mammals
looking at me.
native to Naboo. Ew.
Oh, is this what the Gungans ride?
It's-
Wow.
To
It's
war?
like a
Variant.
hippo meets
The
a
variant.
giraffe.
A variant of them? Okay.
Yeah. So
They are
that's
they are not from Naboo, so
Oh,
I'm sure we saw them.
not much.
Looks
to be
like one
said
of my
about
college
these guys.
professors.
Look at kind of frumpy, a little large and lumpy. Then we've got the flit harassers, which are flying reptiles, usually growing a wingspan greater than the height of a tall Wookiee. Do we have a
What?
picture of one of these?
what is it? A flit?
The
Flit
flits.
harassers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Look at
Oh,
that.
interesting.
Harasser, all right.
They had 2 smaller limbs with sharp claws for grabbing. They have thick hides, very sharp beaks, orange at the beak, but fading in color toward the head, and a small tuft on the back of their neck. They are native to Locke. It's kind of like a hummingbird bat.
Yeah.
almost.
Oh man, wingspan greater than the height of a tall Wookiee. That's so specific.
That is.
Yeah. What is it, like 7 meters?
Wow.
Wow.
So, okay, I'm doing some research, and yeah, the Gungan army does ride Falumpasets.
Oh.
They
There it
so
is.
they're probably in the movie. It says Gungan scouts ride swift-footed Kadu into combat, while hardy Falumpasets and Fambas haul heavy weapons and shield generators
Yeah.
into place.
The Famba,
Okay.
the
Yeah, I knew
Famba's
about
the big
Kadu.
giant one.
Mm-hmm.
The big one that had the huge drum on the back.
So this is the mama
Mhm.
bear of the animals that they ride in
Yeah, interesting.
In
Sorry, I got distracted there.
episode 1.
There you go. Gurks are funny.
Yeah, Gurks, native to Locke. They are hairy humanoids, have a large size and worrisome appearance, but they were very peaceful animals.
Yeah.
Their hides were used in making armor. Blackman liked these and reused them in The Force Unleashed. And that's the author
Ooh.
or the contributor. What do you say?
The lead game designer on Galaxies and The Force Unleashed.
What was his
I like
first
the
name?
Hayden
Hayden.
Blackman.
Hayden Blackman.
I
yeah.
like the idea that he snagged these and just stuck them in the next game.
That's cool, yeah.
They
Copy,
look cool.
paste. Mm-hmm.
We've got Malklocks, reptilian.
If
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
wow,
Malcolm.
Emily's talking about a lot of animals. This book is almost just chock full to the brim of
Yeah.
crazy
It's like
creatures.
a who's who of like the animals in Star Wars. Like she
It
really
is
put like
just-
a ton of effort into this.
She's like the crocodile hunter. She knows exactly what to do in every
Yes.
single page. There's never any mistake. She's always like, "Wow, what a beauty!" You know, and just going right
the
at
so
it.
Legends
true.
Crocodile Hunter.
Uh-huh.
That's
Dusk
now
Mist
somebody
Flyer.
can make that into their cover art, right?
Ooh.
Oh, so cool. I like that a lot. They're
Nice.
reptilian creatures native to Dathomir. They were so big, only rankers can take them down. Rancors. This show is really messing with me. Bioengineers used the DNA of Malklocks to create mutated variants of the creatures known as Malisaurs. Heck yeah. I want one of those.
I had a Malclock as a pet. It was tiny. He was a little baby.
What?
Oh, this is not
Yeah.
a baby that we're looking
That is
at.
definitely
No,
not
no,
a
this is
baby.
a
It's
full
like as
size.
big as like
And
a house.
in the concept art, looks like there's a human-sized person
That's-
as big as one of its toenails.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's about the
Yeah.
size too in the game when you see them. They're
Whoa.
about that tall.
Yeah. Man.
Leviathan. Oh my
It's
gosh.
just really cool concept art. All right, well, we've gone through a lot of creatures. Emily, you've got a few more
Yes.
written here. Any more of these that you've got written that you think deserve a special shout out on the air?
Yeah, so I think the Vorotor lizard was horrifying.
Totally.
There's like that one scene where a mom kills her baby and uses it as bait to like bait a hound and then eats the hurtin or something.
Mm.
And
the
it
bull.
was disturbing and
So-
a little unnecessary in my opinion, but wow.
We'll see the Vorotor lizard, the Quenker. We
That
won't
was
see the
pretty cool,
bull.
too.
We'll see the picket longhorn and the Thune, so we can see that in the video. What
That's
they actually look
okay.
like.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, some infants
We see
being
another
used as
animal
bait.
that's not on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very scary.
There's some crazy stuff with these creatures. I gotta admit, when we got the creatures in the book, my mind just tuned them out. And for me, there's the Star Wars creatures that I know from the movies and stuff like that, and then there's the ones that were clearly for this video game that I know nothing about, and was like, okay, that one is a bird, or that one is a bat, or that one's big like a dinosaur, and that's just as much as my mind. So this was not, my favorite thing. It helps now to have the concept art, though, and that's why we are here for you on Let's Look Back. You know who else is here for you? Freddie C. Freddie is going to give us a tour of Star Wars Galaxies. Now, this is going to be fairly visual, so for our audio listeners, we may cut this out. We don't know.
Hang tight,
this may or may not. It may or may not make the final edit, and if it does end up in the final edit, hang tight. We're going to do 9 minutes here on the tour, and then we'll close out the show from there. If you are an audio listener, you want to go check this out on YouTube to see the beautiful graphics of Star Wars Galaxies. Freddie, show us what you got.
Oh yeah. All right. So this is the starting screen. We're gonna log in, and I think I'm on Endor. I forget where I'm at. Gotta go to the spaceport, and not by myself. I'm gonna fly myself to Dantooine. So the first thing we're gonna do here.
What kind of ship is that?
Flying off. That's honestly, it's nothing incredible. I can't remember the name. I can get after the show.
Man, I know it too.
There's that right there. There's a Hurtin. See that?
Oh yeah.
That's the Hurtin right there. Here we just landed on the Imperial outpost, and I'm a rebel, so I had to basically turn off my status so that I did not get attacked.
Is this on Dantooine?
This is on Dantooine, so this is exactly what it might have looked like.
Yeah.
Where we
Wow,
were
look
at.
at those drab browns. This is just the Dantooine as I've always pictured it.
And that stormtrooper just went through you.
Yep. So this is what the base looks like, the Imperial base. That's where we landed.
Oh.
Yep. Sorry, officers. Let's get that fixed. So my vehicle just was basically exploded. But what you're seeing here is a map of Dantooine. I can't really see the details on my end too much, but from where I'm at on the Imperial base to the Jedi ruins, it's about like maybe 11 kilometers, I would say. 11 kilometers from where you're at. I think it is, right? 11,000.
Give it to me in clicks. That's like the military thing to do, right?
Not sure what a click is.
Maybe
And then on the
kilometer.
complete
It's just-
opposite
it's
side.
shorthand.
So that side right there is where the ruins is at. On the complete opposite side of the map is where where the rebel base is at. So they had to travel kind of a distance throughout this whole thing, and I'm just gonna oh yeah, there's an ATST there. It's
It actually happens.
Hey, that was from the game.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Or from
fly.
the-
I'm
from the
gonna fly
cover.
over. Yeah, I'm gonna fly over to the ruins to see what the ruins look like, because I honestly didn't spend too much time there until I read this book, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly. what
Is
it
there
looks like,
really
I
a
guess.
holocron
I was
in
gonna
the
ask.
cave? Like, can you?
You know what? There might be. There's a Thune. That's a Thune right there. Looks like an elephant. Thune.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what they are. Okay.
Yeah. And see, you just see those creatures as you wander around, and you see them. Oh yeah.
Dude, your
I
bike
should
keeps
go
on
fix
Why
exploding.
does your bike keep exploding?
I just fixed it. Don't worry. So
It
right
seems
now
like
we're
it
Star
fixed
Wars.
it
thing.
twice.
That
Yeah,
you would have
yeah.
a vehicle that keeps
I
malfunctioning.
needed to repair it. That's why it just wasn't.
He's a
working
doctor,
so
not an
hot.
engineer. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So right now, just gonna head over to the area. Speed through that.
Holy
But you
cow!
can see
Put
You
your
can
helmet
see
on, Doc.
I'm gonna walk for a little bit, but what I was trying to talk about earlier with like the crafted items, like this is some of the stuff that I saw in the book. It's
Hmm.
just everyday things that you would use in the game to survive or get whatever you need to get, and it's crazy how integrated it was with like the book. So yeah.
And so
Anyways,
for
I'm gonna
me, it just meant nothing to me. Nothing.
yeah, exactly. So that's the crazy thing. I feel like you definitely need to play the game. And I'm walking through here a little bit because I wanted to show everyone just how vegetative this planet was. Like it's incredibly overcast and there's trees everywhere and they're they're everywhere literally. Grasses,
Mood.
different flowers. Imagine traveling through this for like what, 60 miles
Mm.
or so
Mm.
in a day with just vegetation everywhere. So anyway,
The
we're heading
landscape
to
is beautiful. I do enjoy it. I mean,
yeah.
as somebody who spent a lot of time on Dantooine and Knights of the Old Republic, it's a little bit more lush in this game.
Yes, it definitely is. It definitely is. And right now I have my settings on low. I was using my work computer to do all of this, so it's not the best.
In the
I
name of the
think you
show. Thank you, Freddie.
yeah, exactly. Uh, so I saw that weird fire and I realized, oh my goodness, I think we're there. And
Is that a
boom,
burning
we are
bush?
here. Look at that. There's the
This
waterfall.
is
Dantooine.
VBS after
And
all.
a burning bush.
This is
Ah.
that's the waterfall that we talked about. This is the
Oh.
Jedi ruins.
The
I'm so
waterfall.
sorry.
So this is
Dusk.
exactly where we were at.
Yeah.
This is where Dusk was like feeling the everything and just like I can't believe all the history that could have happened here. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the area. And it was just really weird to get to
This
see
does
that.
give
actually
me
a
some
waterfall.
appreciation.
Yep. And there is an actual waterfall. Yeah, that thing does not have any interest for
Can
me.
you walk
I'm
behind
not-
the waterfall?
Well, we might find out.
Whoa! Foreshadowing.
There you go. So you do, in fact, have to get onto these rocks and swim around into this waterfall, and it's confusing. You can see even in the game, I'm not even sure where to go.
I would die doing this somehow. I'd find a way to die.
Yeah. Eventually, I get
Whoa.
into the cave. Remember the cave? She talks about the cave
The
being
cave.
just confusing and similar, and I was like, oh yeah, I could see it. And
Wait,
then
the cave
she looks.
in the game is actually behind the waterfall,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
like in the book.
And look,
Yeah.
I look down and I see some quankers down there, and I'm not gonna deal with it. And that's what they look like,
Quankers.
though. The
Wait,
the bile
watch your
drenched
mouth,
quanker.
Freddie.
Some who now? Quankers.
Quanker.
That's a
That's
fun
them.
one too.
And they're a pain, so I'm not gonna deal
Bile.
with it. They're gonna give me a
Dripping.
bunch of diseases, so let's get out of there.
I do love your speed walking. That's pretty impressive too.
That is legit.
And I give it a rude salute as I leave.
Wait, are you carrying a gaffy stick like
I am, yeah.
like a Tuscan Raider?
I am, yeah. So next, we're going to head to the abandoned base, and I mean, I'm doing a lot of shortcuts. If they were traveling by foot, it's I think I want to say it's like 9 kilometers away from where I'm at now. Basically made a triangle. So that was one thing I really appreciated that it didn't. Oh yeah, there's a bone pile. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna go.
Hey, nice radial transition there. That was cool. I saw that.
Nice. Yeah, that's a grawl. It wasn't in the book, surprisingly. I was looking to hear about them because they eat the picket longhorns.
What?
Yep. They're kind of brutish. They're similar to like rankers.
They look
So,
like a
I didn't-
Rancor.
Yeah, I'm gonna get away from
As
those
somebody
guys.
who's never played Star Wars Galaxies but has played a lot of Star Wars: The Old Republic, I never understood until this very moment like how much the Old Republic does build off of this. I mean, it is the successor in the world of Star Wars MMOs. It is a
Yeah.
lot of like you're on a speeder traversing across a huge map, and so is everybody else.
Oh yeah, totally.
And there's all kinds of
And you'll
critters.
see it here.
It's
By the way, Vorator.
similar.
That's a Vorator right there. They're
Nice.
huge,
okay.
about the size of my speeder.
Like the Komodo dragon kind of size, huh?
And you can see right here over the crest, kind of how she probably saw it, the
Hmm.
ruins of Dantooine, or the abandoned rebel base. And this is it. This is what it was. This is what it looks like. This is the abandoned rebel base on Dantooine.
Hmm.
So
like a
getting to
prison.
see it is crazy, right? When you hear it in the movies, you're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? It's been there.
Tatooine.
Oh, so the
it's
one
on
that-
Tatooine.
Yeah, from A New Hope.
Mhm.
That was beautiful, Rick.
Thank you.
Your accent was
speed through
perfected
here.
just like Carrie Fisher's was.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, she hated that. She was not a fan of that. So I'm gonna walk into this rebel base, and I think it might be under evacuation because you'll see here. There's definitely some folks
Ah,
in this little area.
it's not abandoned.
And who do we have?
No.
Leia and
Admiral Akbar?
Admiral Akbar chatting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's them, and it's definitely looking like it's in disrepair, or at least they're trying to leave. There's a whole like mission and theme park in this little spot, and as I'm leaving, I notice I see some like a purple dot, which means he's a rebel, and this it's kind of cool seeing it because seeing him there, he just leveled up.
Whoa.
People are
Okay,
still playing this
way to
game,
go,
so
buddy.
All right, so that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask. In the day, you would see characters like go through the map as well.
oh, totally everywhere,
and
all
so-
over the place.
Man,
You
that's
can wave
cool.
at him, like right there. I just clapped for him for leveling up and just took off.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that's it. That's the abandoned rebel base on Dantooine on the hill that she probably looked down on.
Hmm.
So it
wow.
gives it
But
perspective.
is this the first time that we've ever gotten inside the novel, like visually?
Yes, that's that. That's
in
why
the
I feel like
history
that.
of-
Like I'm like,
of
wait, I've seen
Legends
these things.
Roundtables.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
115 episodes in, and this is the first time we have visually explored the map of a book.
it's beautiful.
And the last time,
So
because
cool.
I'm falling asleep. Just kidding, Freddie. No, it was great. I appreciated the tour. That was fun to get to picture it. I liked seeing. I was like, "Ooh, those purple flowers." Liked those. The seeing some of the creatures helped because like I said, read about
Yeah.
the animals and was kind of like, "Well, all right." And boy, does Whitney-Robinson love talking about these animals. Oh
Yeah.
man, does she go into detail on these creatures?
Yep.
And get deep in the cave behind the waterfall. That was cool. That was cool.
Mhm.
I appreciated that. All right, guys, last thoughts on the ruins of Dantooine. Anything else that you thought, was worthy of a shout out here before we close out the ruins of Dantooine once and for all, at least until our next episode when we have our cover contest, and we're going to talk more about that. Last thoughts on the ruins of Dantooine going once.
Good.
Enjoyed it. I
It
want to
was
say
pretty
shout out to the gun, with the dueling animals. Did love that a lot. It was very cool. Should have seen more of that. I'm gonna say should have seen more of the goofy, the funny. Could have definitely helped, a little bit more humor as opposed to dire and romance and animals.
Although,
But-
like, animal cruelty is not funny. So
I was gonna say that
like,
was one of my least favorite parts of the book.
yeah.
But the Gungans, couldn't you have gotten to know what Gungan thought it was a good idea? You could have seen them get arrested. That would have been funny. The Empire busts up the Gungan casino.
No.
Anyway. Rick he liked the animal trivia. That I can tell. You just really loved reading about all the animals. Well, let's wrap it up. We do have a fun contest that is running, and we want to give a quick shout out to it. Freddie, you weren't here last week. Impromptu, live on the show, we came up with a contest.
Ooh.
We are doing a cover art redesign
Oh,
of the
good.
ruins of Dantooine. We want to see your best ideas or your worst ideas, either way, for what would you make as the new cover for the ruins of Dantooine? Because we will say that is what this book is known for more than anything inside it is its cover, don't you think?
Yeah. It's the epitome of do not judge a book by its cover.
Which we have repented of this week. We enjoyed the book, at least generally speaking. We have one of our entrants ready to show off here on the show tonight. Besides that, everybody else has another couple weeks. We'll show out the first show in January. We're going to do the official winner, and we'll do the full spread of all of the different covers for the Ruins of Dantooine. We have one ready to show off. This is by our buddy
Ooh.
Jordan. Jordan has designed a beautiful cover of the Ruins of Dantooine. Rick, are we ready? Here it is. It's stormtroopers at a ruined rebel base, and
Yep.
it's got the green and it's got the drab brown. Really got those colors just right.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Look
that's
at
that. Perfect.
what I pictured.
This is fantastic.
Oh wait, there's a Corinthian column as if the Greeks were there.
That's
The
how you know it's a.
ruins.
That's how you know
It's
it's ruins of a
ruins.
temple,
I
right?
love it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I thought the rebels would be here. The
That's
stormtrooper is
not
saying
called.
the stormtrooper that looks like a Goomba, like a sad Goomba from
Yeah.
Mario.
Did.
Anyway, it is as of now the front runner as
It's beautiful.
the only completed piece of art.
Where do
I will
we
say this much:
Where do we
I'm
send?
working on some.
Where do we send our submissions to?
You can either do it in the Discord, in the Legends Look Back Discord channel, or on Twitter, where you can find us at Legends Look Back,
Okay.
and we are accepting submissions there.
Okay.
Besides that, you can knock on our door. You know, that's fine too.
All right.
Rick's
Snail
address,
mail.
he just sent it to me the other day, is 20.
Here's
Carrier pigeon.
Finn Dark trying to show his picture. I thought he was Deveronian after seeing this. Is that like what's his does he have
What's up with his
horns?
horns?
Those are not horns. Those are like long braids that go to the back of his head, to his back. They're just
Okay.
very interesting.
And then here's the goat.
Yeah. Oh
Ah.
yeah, there it is.
Tindao.
Yes.
Pre-death. Rest in peace.
He's an
Tindao.
Ithorian. Thank you very much.
I know. Who's saying the greatest of all time? Goat, not his species.
Oh, you're really hip with the youth lingo, I see.
Yeah.
Goat.
Lit fam.
So it's been great. I've enjoyed it. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. I'm probably never gonna read it again. But we did it,
We're done.
and I never thought I would. And I'm very proud. Very proud.
And you
it
brought
went,
us all with you.
this one counted in my Legends Race to the Finish, and as it did for all of you, because I'm gonna bet none of us would have read it had we not had to do it for
Low
the
on the
round
list.
table.
But yeah, I'm glad we
Nope.
read it because it's
Nope.
Yeah.
higher than it should than it
We
currently
can- we
stands.
can-
It was good.
We
We
should
will be its voice.
we should
That's right. We will champion this thing. I brought this thing to Star Wars Celebration. We put it in the Utini booth on
We
display.
did.
The folks at Del Rey, they saw it and they commented on it. Just like you can. You can, of
Uh-huh.
course, submit all of your feedback about everything you thought about the ruins of Dantooine. There's a number of ways to get in touch with us. You can, of course, find all of the contact information in the description below. Now you can find us, like we said earlier, at Legends Look Back on Twitter or the Utini Discord. That does it for this week. Thanks for joining us here for Legends Look Back for this monumental roundtable. Thanks especially to our incredible patrons for your support. Special thank you to our Jedi High Council, Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander, and the Alliance High Command, Ashley Ingalls, Elizabeth EA, and Sally, and Chris Eilerson. Remember to sub to the channel and leave us a review in your podcast platform of choice. And remember to keep the Utini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. May the force be with you.